And then I will share my screen. And you all can share in my misery of all the red X's. I'm just not used to that many people missing. That's okay. So for modules, or in the modules that we have set up for this project. Oh, there's Jen. Okay, there's okay. I'll come back to attendance. For in the modules that we have set up, at least for this class or this effort, you have seen these before. None of these are new. Midterm we presented. That was all very well done. Midterm comments, I believe I've received all of them, and you should have gotten credit for them. I don't know if this is a plus or minus. You all tell me, but they were supposed to be worth 10 points, and for some reason they were worth 100 points, and everybody got 100. So I don't know if that was. I'm assuming it's going to boost your grade up higher than it would have been. Sorry for that. If you want me to correct it to 10, I'm happy to do it. Just let me know where you. Oh no, okay. Are you just checking? All right, and then that was sarcasm. And then the section building model, which is due on the, oh, sorry, I skipped right over the master plan. The master planning is due Thursday. The render master plan is due Thursday. And we will be in person. I'd very much like to see that printed on the wall before class starts. I know I've said that before, but just saying it again. The section model is due a week later. So we will not meet in person on the, whatever that is, the 15th. We'll meet in person on the 17th. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I think it's still okay, but I want to make sure I'm not in Nashville. What day was that? That was 15th. Yeah, no, 17th. I'm not in Nashville on 17th, but I might be a little late. My daughter's field trip is on the 17th, my middle daughter. So I might be a little late for that, but I will be here. Or there, I should say. I will be there. And then on August 24th is our jury. So we have, as you know, a distinguished panel. I have absolutely struck out getting Disney. The two people I really thought would come have both backed out. So we do not have Disney on the jury. We do have Universal, Thomas, who you saw previously. We do have Nemours, Michael, who you saw previously. We do have Orlando Health and UCF and Bill Martin from the University Architect. So I think we have a pretty robust jury anyway, but it would have been nice to have some of the WDI folks show up. And then the one thing I want to note is just like it's not on here, but actually, wait a minute. Let me back up. It's here. Okay. Just like we did for, oh no, it's not there. Let me double check that. Yeah, there it is. Okay, it's there. It's just not in the module. Just like we had for the beginning of the semester, you had a D5 portfolio page. I'm asking for at the end of the semester a D6 portfolio page. Right now it's due the 29th. If you guys want to be done with me and have it due on the 25th, I'm happy to move that up. If you want to leave it on the 29th, I'll leave it on the 29th. But there is no grace period. So if you turn it in on the 29th or if you forget, I have to turn in my grades on the 30th. So there's no, I can't turn it in late, right? So it's due on the 29th. You have to turn it in. Any commentary or question about that? Is everyone okay? All right. So that is it. I mean, we honestly hold back the tears. I know they're going to start coming, but we only have 3 weeks left with each other. That's kind of sad. Or more importantly, you have 3 weeks before you're a senior, which is probably kind of happy. So however you think about that. So yeah, so that's schedule. Any thoughts or comments to share? I saw some people come in while I was chatting, so I'll go back and make sure they get credit.
Dan said that she's coming into class a little bit late because she had to go to the clinic. She's not feeling well, so she's gonna be
Okay.
later.
All right. Appreciate that. I did not see Erica. I saw Roque come in, and then I didn't see Nico. I do see Megan. Oh, actually, our Megan's already credit. All right, I think I got everybody. So I think we're good. I still don't have Alex Rosati or Erica, Mateo, Nico. So those folks are out, which is totally fine.
Um,
Go
Professor,
ahead. Yeah.
Mateo is on his way here. So he's driving right now. That's why he's not joined the Zoom yet.
Okay. So I will trust you and I will give him credit for being here. So there you go. All right.
Thank you.
Any other thoughts about calendar or expectations for the model or the renderings? I mean, I feel like we've kind of run that to ground. I don't feel like there's any clarity needed, but I've been teaching this for a while, so I don't need any clarity. You all have to tell me if you need clarity. If none, I'm good to move
Oh,
on.
wait,
Oh.
Professor, we have a question that's kind of just about the assignment. It's not really like a desk create, it's about the site render plan.
Mhm.
Can we ask it now? I don't know.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So just thinking about like the ones that you shared with us last week, I noticed that they all showed like the first floor plan of the building.
Correct.
Do you want that or do you want like an overhead closed view of the building?
That's my least favorite question. What I want doesn't matter. It's what you need to explain your ideas to the jury, right?
Okay.
So what I feel like most people have most success with is the first floor, because generally what the jury wants to hear or see is, okay,
Entries.
here's the building, here's the site, how do I get in, how do I get out, where do I park, all those things, right? They are less concerned with the rooftop view. But
Okay.
if you have the reason why I'm saying if you have a first floor plan with the site drawn on the first floor plan, then the first floor plan and the site plan become redundant because they're both
Right.
showing the same information.
That's what we were thinking. Like, do we
Right.
need a floor plan? Or like, could we do the closed view and then just have those separate floor plans? I don't know.
So
Is it
remember the rendered site master plan is not as zoomed in as a floor plan. It's zoomed out so you can see the adjacent streets and so on. Whereas the floor plan is largely the floor plan and maybe 5-10 feet outside of it, right?
okay, because in the floor plan, we would also have like the key and like labels for the rooms and everything. While I'm guessing
Correct.
for the site plan, we don't need that. We just need to show
Correct.
like the openings where you
Correct.
things like that.
Correct.
Okay, so it will be a little different.
So it's a little different, but they're largely redundant, which is why some people have gone to the rooftop view. But I think in previous jury comments, they said, "Oh, that's a pretty rendering, but how do I get in?" Right?
Yeah.
And so people have, I don't know what the right guidance to give you. It's your prerogative. You pick which way you want to go based on your narrative, your story.
Okay. And then second question about that, is there like a preferred like kind of graphics that you want for it? Because we also noticed a lot of them kind of took like the Google Earth image, it looks like, and then like photoshopped on top of it, like doing line work for the streets. Like, because we have our site plan that we did before, which it's a little more like, I don't know, drawing, like artistic. Like, I don't know, do you want it to be realistic in the sense that like the ground is green and like the streets are gray, or like do we have freedom there? I don't know.
So again, you're asking me what I like, and I'm happy to tell you what I like, but honestly,
Or what
my
is
wife
like more useful, like in the
what
field, like when people make site plans?
what my wife will tell you is what I like doesn't matter, and so that's a true statement in life. Yeah, again, it's whatever best explains your ideas. I will tell you that if it is purely based on my preference, Sarah kind of ruined it for me, and I think it should be watercolor personally. That's what I think it should be, but that's my preference, which has no basis in your reality, right? So you do what works best for you. I think for Sarah, for your team, you all already went down that path. It would be weird for that site plan not to be watercolor and not hand rendered, because then you're mixing media and that gets a little funky for me. But for everyone else, it's your preference. I am much more of a fan of the soft analytical graphic than the hard photoreal stuff.
Okay.
There is going to be photoreal stuff, right? Later on, you're going to have renderings and all that.
Right.
But the pretty, I'll call them diagrams or drawings, should
Yeah.
be pretty and soft in my opinion.
Okay, because
But-
we have it like kind of like soft and analytical, I guess.
Yeah.
We just got confused because in the assignment it says like rendered site plan. So I don't know if by render you wanted it like really realistic or if that's,
So
but I guess
that particular word is open to interpretation, right? Chefs use the word render to talk about the completion of a soup or the completion of a cake. You know, you've rendered this lobster bisque, right? It doesn't mean they put it in a computer and hit go. They didn't draw it. It's something that's pulled to a complete idea. That's what rendered means.
okay.
So I am using that to mean something more than line work that explains a larger philosophical point. It doesn't mean computer rendered. And unfortunately, that's what most people think when you say rendered. They think computer rendered. But
Yeah.
watercolor is rendered, right?
Okay.
Crayon is rendered. So it depends.
Okay. Okay, thank you. That clarifies.
Yep. Good.
Into
Good.
it.
All
Thank
good
you.
questions. Jolene, hands up.
I have a question about the 1/8 model.
Mm,
Okay. Laugh at me if you want. That's totally fine.
okay.
Okay, so I understand it's a 1/8 scale. Got it.
Yes. Yep.
But the way it's described, sectional building model.
Yes.
I can interpret that two different ways.
Okay.
One, I'm building the entire model at a
Yep.
1/8 scale, and
Right.
then I'm breaking it apart in a section.
Correct.
Or I'm building a section of it and I'm still breaking it apart.
Yeah. First answer. You're building the
Okay.
whole model. Now I have
Okay.
I have seen people do this, and it creates anxiety for me every time. I have seen people build the whole thing and then literally run it through a bandsaw and cut it and make it a peel apart thing.
Oh my God.
That creates severe anxiety for me on multiple fronts. Most importantly, if you're doing that, it's probably the first or second time you've ever used a bandsaw, which means you're probably going to come away with a finger missing or whatever.
I
And
had
then
a
I'll
problem
call
with drill this
you.
weekend, so I don't want to talk about a bandsaw.
Yeah, see, I'm going to call you Stumpy for the rest of your life if you come into class without a finger because you used the power
What
tool.
happens when my husband's not here? He had to go back to work, so
Yeah,
let me
so
finish
I
my
get it.
project.
I get it. So I would not recommend that. Again, you do what you do, but I would not recommend that. What I would recommend is you think of it like a whole model, either section in the middle or section, a transverse or a longitudinal section. And then when you have that rendered, then you build the other half, or however you do that so that they come together, they look complete, but you can peel them apart. Another option, honestly, Jolene, is something you did in
I
the
was going
first
to ask,
project.
does it matter how it comes apart? Because I have ideas in a direction that I want to go that is not how you are describing.
Yeah,
As long as it comes apart and you can see inside, right?
you need to be able to explain, and so how you get there is up to you. But what my request of you all is that you have some what's the word? Not ability, that's the wrong word, but I can't think of the right word. You have some power to explain the complex spatial realities of your project on the inside, right? And sections are, drawn sections are one way of doing that. Perspectives or renderings are one way of doing that. But the simple best way of doing that is to model this thing and to peel it apart like a clamshell. That is the best way, in my
You
humble
really want
opinion.
us to do a clamshell?
I think it's the best way to explain your ideas. But I am not requiring it to be a clamshell. I'm simply requiring it sectional so that you can peel it apart and show it to somebody. You saw examples of this, by the way, for those of you who went to the UCF Celebrate the Arts, although they only brought half of sectional models at 1/8 inch. So,
No,
Chase,
the UCF one?
the UCF Celebrate the Arts, Chase
Yeah, the
Schulte.
ones that we brought in, those were 1/4 inch models.
No, well, I don't know
No?
about I don't know about the ones you brought in, but
The ones we did last term were 1/4 inch sections.
yeah, I was talking about Chase's model.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. Oh, wait, I'm not sharing. So this is Chase's post today. I don't know if y'all saw that. Look at how presidential he looks, right? So what's the word? Put together. Normally he's in flip flops and t-shirt, so it's much better look. There's all the people that were there. There's the award winners. That's what I'm talking about. That's an 1/8 inch model section. That's only half. That's missing the other half. But that's exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. All right. Mario.
So for on the model, how much site context do you want? Like that, I know that one you just showed had like the supports going into the ground. Like, do you want that in it?
Now, yeah, so ideally you should see your mass and whatever's immediately adjacent. So if it's right next to a road and a sidewalk, you should see the road and the sidewalk. You don't need to build the parking garage or the other buildings because that's what the other model's for. That's what the 16th model is for. But for this project, it can't just be the building. It has to be the building and immediate context. So
It's like first 10, 15 feet.
yeah, something like that.
Okay, that's all.
Anybody else? Good questions.
So you're saying for the 16th of an inch, we are building the garage
Eight.
and all of
1/8 inch. 16th inch you're done with. That was midterm.
No, but aren't we doing like a big one and then a small one?
No, you did the small one already. That was the massing model. You have one model due for the final.
Oh, I thought we were having two.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
You have one model due. It's 1/8 inch that you can split apart, or like Jolene did in the first model, you can just peel the top off. However you do it, you just need someone to explain.
Okay. Thank you.
Right? Any other thoughts, questions? All right. If you have none for me, I have none for you. So in the Descrit time, which is where we are now, Ale, Dan, Haley, or Dan, is that Roque? No, who is that? That's Roque, right? Yeah. What are we talking about?
We wanted to ask you the best place for our section cut, because ours is kind of wrapped around the center courtyard and cutting it right down the middle feels like a bad idea. So we wanted to ask you about possibly cutting like a almost a U shape.
I don't love that. I was gonna say it. I was gonna give you do you have a visual that I can draw on and like floor plan or something?
Okay,
What-
that was also another question I need to talk to you about because Revit is really fighting me right now.
It does that from time to time.
Yeah, so I was gonna ask you about that. Let me see if I can't go into the Revit file and find a floor plan for you to show you what I'm talking about.
Well, while you're doing that, philosophically, I'll tell you what was told to me forever ago. Sections are intended to explain, again, complex realities, right?
Mhm.
Whether there's spatial realities or connectivity, like how things connect and relate to each other. You should never shy away from the most complex moments, right? So where should you take your section? In the most complicated place possible. So you can either showcase or explain really difficult things to see and understand. That's what
Okay.
sections are for.
Okay. Um,
Is it not letting you share? Hold on. You should be able to share.
okay, we actually are gonna have to wait for Revit to open up because
Okay, no problem. While we're waiting for Revit to open, anyone else? We're in Descript time, so if you have no questions, you're free to go.
I have a question. Like,
Go for it.
so last class we were talking about the emergency stairs and we were able to like figure it out. However, as we go into the fourth floor, because of where we place the stair, it doesn't necessarily like go directly on it. So is there any way that we can like expand the stair at any point? Or is that
Say
frowned
more.
upon?
I'm not sure I understand.
Like regular emergency stairs from the pictures that we were looking at are very like straight.
Right.
We're just kind of thinking if like maybe in the top floor, kind of like the stair keeps going a little bit more because we have double height floors. So it's just the way that it's set up. I'm just not sure if there's
if-
anything that we have to follow regarding emergency stairs.
If I understand you correctly, as long as the stair volume, right, the volume that is contained by the stair is a 2-hour rated enclosure, it doesn't matter how and it works or shape, as long as it's a rated enclosure. So if you wanted to make a big L, right, where you get to the top and it goes 80 feet that way, as long as there's no glass or crazy gymnastics going on, it's totally fine. Matter of fact, I think I explained that hospital that I did in Jacksonville. We could not get. Oh, I have the wrong computer. We could not get because I had this really brilliant idea of taking the third and fourth floor and then canting them, which played all kinds of havoc on the egress stairs and the elevators and all that stuff. And what we had to do so that I could still egress is that entire corridor that runs from the core all the way to the perimeter had to be 2-hour rated. That's the only way I could get that to work. So that would be my explanation to you is if you're going to do something where it's not a straight vertical run like a switchback, and when you get to the top, you have to walk 20 feet to the left or right or whatever. As long as it's a concrete box that's rated, and you're good to go. All right.
Perfect. Thank you.
Jolene.
I've been meaning to ask you, this has been long overdue, but the system diagrams and the skin studies,
Mhm.
when you graded ours, you said that it wasn't the correct format.
I was talking about the size of the things. So they're supposed to be
So
on
the
20
ones
by
that
30
I submitted
sheets.
online,
Yeah, they're not. Well, I'm
20
pretty
by
sure they're
30.
not. They are.
Yes.
All right. Send me an email. I'll look at them again.
Okay.
No pressure, Haley, but waiting on you.
Okay, I know. So
Okay.
I just got Revit to open and I misunderstood in the group chat that we already decided on our section cut, so you don't have to help me with that. But if another group wants to go first, I just have questions about Revit. So
I think everybody's waiting to see what everyone else wants to know. So,
okay.
so it's you.
Okay, so share screen, share. So here's my Revit, right?
Yep.
And
I'm going to move you to my big screen. Go ahead.
okay. And these, I don't know why these walls are showing up because they're just supposed to be in the sub level. But
Well, that's pretty easy to explain.
okay.
If you go to the sub level, I guess that's
Mhm.
S1 or whatever that is,
Mhm.
and then you select the walls that aren't supposed to go higher than that floor. Just select
Okay.
any of them, really. Select that one. See where it
Oh yeah, they're
says,
at 20 foot.
yeah, see where it says unconnected? Change that
Yes.
thing to drop down from unconnected to L1. Yep. And you should not see it on L1 anymore.
Slay.
Same
Okay,
that's true
slay.
for all of those. Yep.
Okay, and then here's my next question, and I think it's the last one. I can't add columns. I go to
Mhm.
structural column.
No, don't do structural, do
Oh, don't do
architectural.
structural. Do architectural. Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. Column architectural.
Yep.
And we zoom in, we try to place. You're actually kidding. So now it works. Never mind.
It only works because you used architectural instead of structural.
So slay.
Now,
I've been fighting with
have you placed others or no?
No, I haven't.
Try, I want to test the theory, but go back and do structural again. You
Okay.
can do structural if you want, but
Well, they don't
why I
place.
was telling you not to do them is
Yeah.
because columns, at least in healthcare, are
Mhm.
often wrapped in something like
Okay.
a round or a square. The
Mhm.
structural columns are just the beams themselves, or sorry, the
Oh, okay.
sections. So you would see like the metal. You wouldn't
Yeah.
see a wrap. Architectural columns, the implication is that there's structure within them, but you're seeing just the wrap.
Mhm.
So that's why you should use those. But just click anywhere on that grid line, somewhere outside of the wall.
Oh, somewhere outside the wall?
Yeah, it's yeah, right there. It's fine. Good. Now escape out of that. And then type in the letters V twice. So this is called visibility graphics.
Mhm.
And what we're looking for is a filter that is unchecked. So if you scroll all the way down, you should see something called structures. Keep going.
Okay.
And those were all checked. Interesting. Huh. Okay, well, cancel that. Let's try something else. The other thing that's possible is structural columns. And I don't know if I've explained, like we haven't had like a real Revit how-to.
Mhm.
But one of the things Revit does to help speed up your performance, don't delete anything.
I
One of the
can't
things,
I can't even click them.
okay. So one of the things that Revit does is it removes unnecessary information by a graphic filter. So
Mhm.
if you go down to the bottom of your page where it says 1/8 inch equals a foot,
Mhm.
click the next thing over is a filter. It's a graphic filter. Click that and then choose fine. And if you, so sometimes the columns will show up here because they aren't. So you try placing a column now, structural column.
Okay. Outside
Now
the
the
wall?
and before you place it,
Oh, yeah.
don't escape out though. See where it says depth unconnected and it says 9 feet. It's assuming the connection points are below grade for some reason. So change your top connection to L2 in the properties box. Sorry.
Oh, in the properties box. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Uh,
Good. See where it says top connection and base connection, and go back up. Right there. Right there.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Change top connection to L2. Oh,
Uh,
wait a minute. Oh, it's not going to let you do that. All right. That's interesting. Okay. So then go back and where it says unconnected.
up here?
Yeah. See where it says depth next to that?
Yeah.
Change the depth. What's the drop down for depth? No, leave the 9 feet for now. Height. Yep. Change that. And it's where it says unconnected, change that to L2 because you're on L1, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, do that. Now place a column. There
There
it
it
is.
is.
So what's happening is when you put depth,
Uh-huh.
it's assuming it means 9 feet down. And so if
Oh.
you look at the sub now that we've, because that's on the previous floor. If you look at the sub, there's probably a million,
Oh
a
my
million little
gosh.
comments.
Dang.
Um,
Okay.
So that's for all the ones that you were trying to place.
Okay. Okay.
But that's what's happening now. But again, I wouldn't be using, unless you have what is called architecturally exposed steel, or AES, columns like this.
Mhm.
I wouldn't be placing those. I'd be using architectural columns.
Good to know. Good to
Yeah,
know.
and
Okay.
I just use, unless you want round columns, I just use regular square columns. So if you click architectural one more time, change that from metal clad. There should be a few options.
Oh,
There's two-
rectangular column.
Yeah, rectangular column. Yeah, any of those really.
What size would you recommend?
Probably 24 by 24. It really depends on your structural system.
Okay.
So I can't remember who, but somebody in here is doing glue lam or laminated timber. I don't remember who that was, but those folks should be choosing the larger member. If you're doing steel structure, it would be smaller.
Okay.
So, and then concrete would be larger too.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you
Good.
very much.
Anyone else? Thoughts, questions, concerns, anxieties? We'll cover them all.
I had a question about if you uploaded the last class
Ooh.
video.
Yeah, let me double check. The short answer is most likely no. I'm really bad at that. Yeah, it's there now. If you check again, it should be there.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else? This might be the fastest class this semester ever. 35 minutes. I can't really see that. Yeah, 35 minutes. Okay. All right. Well, if you have nothing else for me, enjoy your Tuesday. I'm hoping you're producing something, and we'll see you on Thursday with a printed thing at 6 p.m. on the wall, not printing, not like cutting or trimming, on the wall. All right. Take care, y'all. We'll see you.
Bye, Professor.
Bye-bye.